I am in New York.
Young P.
My old friend Ern is living in New Zealand. And he's about to turn 40.
Yeah.
Perfect excuse for another road trip. So here we are, in LA, about to head south of the border. This is Baja.
We're in LA. We're about to get on I-5 South and begin our journey. Should be about 2 hours to the border and then another 2 hours to our destination. We have no idea where we're going.
Take me to Tijuana.
I still haven't found a toilet.
That's right.
Jesus.
That's right.
Speaking of shitting and pissing, I brought Imodium.
So did I. I brought like a shitload of it.
Right now, all I can think of is tequila
Fish tacos.
and some fish tacos.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good trip. In total, our route would take us over 1,000 miles south along Highway 1 through rugged terrain from the Pacific Ocean to the Sea of Cortez and ultimately to Land's End in Cabo San Lucas.
All right, dude, we are at the border.
About to roll into Mexico.
We decided, after a very long day of travel to LAX, that Ensenada would be the perfect first stop in Baja.
Ensenada. Ensenada. Goal 1 achieved. Now for goal 2. First Mexican food. I want my first taco.
Yeah, me too. And let's not kid ourselves here. We knew damn well that good authentic Mexican food was going to be a highlight throughout this entire trip. It smells so good. In my experience, you want to find something good to eat, you find the 3 old ladies in the cart.
I've been thinking about this ever since I landed in LA. Actually, I've been thinking about this probably about since I left New Zealand.
And Baja is famous for fresh seafood, especially fish tacos. So with full tanks and smiles on our faces, it was time to find the hotel, the bar, and some sleep, in that order.
Thank God this works away. Perfecto.
Don't worry, I've got no desires to get blazing drunk on tequila or anything.
No. Yeah.
But I am a tequila guy.
I'll definitely drink a little tequila.
We'll do well to partake without going overboard.
It didn't take long to make friends on our very first night in Mexico. Come a little closer, you're out of focus.
These guys have never been in focus.
He doesn't drink, he just likes juices.
I love it. What are you doing out there, boy? Wow, you guys are having too much fun. Arriba, abajo, centro, adentro. Enjoy that, will you? Woo-ah.
Sure. Time to get up.
Oh, tequila.
Oh, asshole.
Up well before dawn, we left Ensenada for what would be our biggest day of driving. Over 500 miles to our next destination, Bahia Asuncion, a small fishing village on the Pacific coast of central Baja.
Proud of it. Watched Die Hard 2 on the plane.
Good man. You know what I watched? Lethal Weapon.
Nice.
Time to put some miles between us and LA. South of Ensenada, Baja really began to come into its own. Lonely roads skirting the desolate Pacific coast eventually led inland, winding through forests of cacti.
That is stunning. That is beautiful.
Is it me or is it just getting better and better?
It's the further south we go, the better it's getting.
With so much distance to cover, it was difficult finding a balance between making time and stopping to get the shots we needed. But the bizarre Catavina boulder field, part of the Central Desert National Park, was an early highlight and something we needed to check out.
Look at this. This is nuts. It really is like we're in the Flintstones driving through bedrock. This is crazy.
What's crazy is how we went from completely flat to this, like just over a hill.
I couldn't imagine missing all this if you could help it. I mean, I know a lot of people go straight to Cabo San Lucas for the vacation, but God, this is the vacation. For me, this is the best part.
Yeah. As the sun went down, we entered the small town of Guerrero Negro. Burning all those miles had made us hungry, and as luck would have it, we had just passed an inviting taqueria, boasting a large display of colorful meat on a stick. No surprises here. Time for more tacos served up fresh and delicious. Back on the road, with our belts loosened, it was truly dark now.
Driving in Baja can be quite dangerous at night. There are lots of cattle roaming around.
If you screw up out here, you're on your own, at least until morning. No cell phone coverage, nobody passing by, just desert.
Hey, Ern. Yep. Don't hit a cow. I'm trying really hard not to hit a cow right now.
We had arrived in Bahia Asuncion at last, wiped out. And because it was dark, there was little we could see. But the sound of the crashing waves beside our inn gave us a hint of what we could expect the next morning. We woke in an idyllic fishing village on the Pacific coast, utterly remote and set amongst a beautiful, rugged landscape. This place seemed to exist outside of time. Seriously, coming from a guy who lives by the clock, time just wasn't much of a thing here. And I mean that in a good way. The hustle and bustle of Manhattan seemed not just miles away, but worlds away. Looking back now, I remember Bahia Asuncion not unlike a peaceful daydream.
It's so perfect. I couldn't imagine this place any other way.
And it gets better. The people here are great. We connected with new friends that we felt like we had known forever. We went fishing one morning with Juan, the host from our inn. And that night we shared our catch with more new friends. Then there was music and a party. Yeah, the end of Ern's 30s. What a way to end a decade. Here in the most remote part of Baja, we expected to find very little. But instead, we found so much more. We found a community and a quality of life any person would be lucky to be a part of. this desert, at the edge of the world, was not empty.
Cut.
Leaving Bahia Asuncion was bittersweet after all the good times we had with new friends, but still, we couldn't wait to get back on the road. As we drove off, one hell of a desert sunrise welcomed Ern to his 40th birthday. And then it happened. We turned onto a road we thought would be an ordinary shortcut that would take us to the site of ancient cave paintings and eventually reconnect us to the main road. We were so wrong. This road is no shortcut, but for once, this was okay. Because more importantly, we were also wrong about this road being ordinary. We had accidentally discovered the greatest road in the world. The vast landscape of mountains, canyons, and desert was so much more than we'd imagined or even hoped for. And for being in the middle of nowhere, the quality of the roads themselves was incredible.
At least it's a paved road.
For a while.
I wouldn't call this a road. We've decided to take this back road to go see some ancient petroglyphs, some rock art that's abundant in a lot of the caves in this particular region of Baja. Works your neck. Well, it's trying to keep your head in one place.
And as we traveled ever deeper into the canyons of the Sierra de San Francisco, we were amazed that even in the most remote places, it's still possible to find yourself in afternoon traffic.
Traffic jam.
Wow. Well, this is a first.
There's some teats.
At this point, the dirt road was devolving into something more like a cattle trail, and I couldn't help but wonder if this type of usage was covered in our truck's rental policy. Somehow I think not. It was rough, but this was serious fun.
You can see the road we've just come down across. That's amazing. I mean, even if we don't find rock art now, just this road is enough. I mean,
That's what we've just come through.
when I thought of Baja and adventure, this is it. I mean, this is what it's about. This is a road trip. And within that road trip, this little side road is a gem. Jesus, that's amazing. So, are you appreciating those off-road courses now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think some of the rock art is down inside that canyon.
So I'm just going to say this one more time. I'm really glad I took some off-road lessons. I mean, I know this is not super technical, but I can just keep remembering two things. Put a tire on it and breathe. At last, we made it to Cueva del Raton, the site of ancient cave paintings that are over 10,000 years old. After the truly epic drive, we couldn't wait to see them. So naturally, when we found that the site was closed, we behaved just like the mature adults we are. So we just arrived at the cave painting site right off this rocky road, and we lugged all of our gear up there, really excited to see these 10,000-year-old cave paintings. And we come to find out that the entire site is fenced off with chain link fence, a deadbolt, and razor wire. So we really wanted to get a shot of this, so Ern kind of did the stupid thing and decided to crawl underneath the fence to get a shot of the painting. So I'm down here like waiting just in case that, you know, anyone comes down the road. We haven't seen anyone for a while, but this place is... So we got really fucking lucky. I started to hear a truck approaching.
I heard the truck coming and started hauling ass.
I'm coming!
It's the ranger.
Where is he?
And Ken's sitting there schmoozing him. I come down trying to kind of hide my wounds and ripped shirt saying,
It's locked up there. Is there any way we can get in?
I think something that, I did that was relatively stupid ended up being a very fortunate situation. And we got the shot.
This is absolutely amazing. This is over 10,000 years old. This is caveman stuff.
Yeah.
Here.
The pyramids in Egypt were built between 4,000 and 5,000 years ago. And to see something that outdates that by so much, this is early history.
Cueva del Raton was something that neither of us would ever forget, for a number of reasons. So after not getting arrested, we were excited to drive the few remaining miles that would reconnect us to the main highway.
Oh, wow.
It was here, only a few miles from the main road, that we found a dead end. But there was one big positive side to all of this. We got to drive that road through the canyon again. Happy 40th, Ern. I don't think we could have done better. Back on the main road again, we began to chew up the miles. After that incredible road, we were back on track and driving toward Loreto and the Sea of Cortez.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Cabo's going to be a nice little reward in the sense that I am going to want to kick back and have some beers and enjoy a nice bed, but I've kind of been kicking back and having nice beers and enjoying nice beds and all of these other places too. So, I mean, I think that's the kicker. I don't know what more Cabo San Lucas could possibly add to make that better, but I can clearly see things that could make it worse, like tourists and resorts and drunken kids and
The small oasis town of San Ignacio would be the next stop on our way to Loreto. Here, the plaza is dominated by the San Ignacio Mission, founded by the Jesuits in 1728. Because some of Mexico's oldest and most picturesque missions are found in Baja, taking the opportunity to explore them can make a perfect side trip for anyone, religious or not. This is one stunning example of Spanish colonial architecture in Baja. We wandered and enjoyed our brief rest, but as always, we had to keep moving. Between San Ignacio and Loreto, our stomachs were telling us something loud and clear. You guessed it, time for more tacos. Mulegé is a favorite spot for many seasoned Baja travelers, and for us as well. It was here that we were lucky enough to find Asadero Danny's, a family-run local favorite and some of the best authentic food we had on our entire trip. And it's worth mentioning that tacos here are not like your typical tacos north of the border. In Baja, you get fresh, hot tortillas loaded up typically with fish or meat. But then there's the mouth-watering selection of salsas, moles, and other sauces you can add to make your ultimate taco. As the sun was setting, we left Mulegé, knowing that once again we would not make our destination before nightfall. Since we weren't in a rush to beat the sunset, we decided to take our time and stop for some refreshment. at this place. After only one round, Ern decided it was time to go.
This is a 2014 Baja 1000.
Takes a lot of commitment. There's a lot of logistical nightmares too. You know, I have a crew of about 20 some odd people, and maybe 3 of us are bilingual. And, you know, there's a lot of challenges.
Having a great time. A lot of locals here.
This is it. This is the granddaddy of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bucket list. You can do it. Right on, man.
Cheers. Cheers. Today was a big day for you, huh? What a fucking way to turn 40. Jesus Christ. Over the course of just one day today, we almost hit goats, cattle. There was a dead horse on the side of the road that must have seriously done some damage to whatever hit it. I don't know. A random burro ran out in front of us.
I don't know how I'm going to top that next year. Where the hell are we going to go for my birthday next year? Well, I'm glad I got to share it with you, pal. This is morning in Loreto. Hard to beat in what is easily one of the most alluring towns in all of Baja. Our adventures the day before had caused us to arrive here well beyond late. We had underestimated the immense beauty of Baja and the time needed to see it. Because of that and our tight production schedule, we were leaving frustrated, having had only enough time for breakfast and a quick look around. Believe me, this place deserves so much more. If you should find yourself passing through Loreto, do yourself a favor and make time to enjoy it.
You would think heading south in Baja is pretty easy. And here in La Paz, all we had to do is make a simple right-hand turn to head south and continue on our way to Cabo. But frankly, this is the most lost I've been the whole trip.
Dude, I have no idea where we are.
It's starting to get frustrating. And a little bit embarrassing. Jesus, I mean, all we gotta do is make a turn and head south. I made that turn, and I don't know where the hell we are. The traffic in La Paz is just a free-for-all. Christ. Fuck. Jesus. My God, people drive insane here. This is this one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Fuck. We're gonna be so late.
Yeah. So you may have seen in the news recently that Mexico is a pretty dangerous place to be these days. Drug lords, headless corpses in mass graves, abductions, you've heard it all. And yes, that really happened. And yes, we are bombarded by media depicting the entire country as a haven for sadistic cartels. And I have to admit that I allowed myself to buy into that to some degree. Even my family was begging me not to go out of fear. And what I want to tell you is that from our experience, this fear is unjustified, at least in Baja.
So, sure enough, there was our checkpoint. And just ahead is the setting sun.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas noches.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenas tardes.
Spanish.
Search.
Sí, sí.
Spectrum.
Yeah, sí, no problem. Yeah, sí, no problem.
That was probably the best look they've had yet. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no, not at all. Think anything's missing or anything like that? I think we're okay.
It's insulting.
I just realized that.
You can't really fault these guys for doing their job. I think that instead of being annoyed at these stops, it's actually a little bit of a relief in some ways, because you know that they're looking out for your best interests, really, as a traveler through Mexico. So they're just doing their jobs, and ultimately they're making the roads of Mexico a safer place to drive.
Another inspection, and the guys were more interested in our gear than they were us. They were checking out the tripods, they were looking at the GoPros.
They loved the GoPro, and I don't know what was up with the tripod, but the one guy loved the tripod.
He was kind of even like lining up like an imaginary camera, wasn't he?
He was setting up shots with an imaginary camera.
Gracias.
Another easy checkpoint.
Yeah.
This is one of the friendliest, most beautiful places I've ever been in my entire life. And the people, they're so helpful and honest and kind and giving, and it's really been humbling in a lot of ways.
I have felt very safe since we've been here.
With all the drugs we have in here, I can't believe we made it. Here in Baja, I feel as safe as anywhere else in the world.
As long as you don't drive off this cliff.
As long as I don't drive off the cliff.
For this trip, we had rented an older two-wheel drive 4Runner. A well-suited truck with a strong 4-liter V6. We'd have rather have had the confidence that a 4x4 offers in this type of terrain, but that option was unfortunately outside of our budget. Looking on the bright side, however, we did get better mileage in the two-wheel drive, and the truck had been reliable so far, but the miles were beginning to take a toll. And let's be honest, for an 18-year-old rental, we hadn't exactly gone easy on it. At high speeds, our brakes were becoming an issue. We were burning oil, and the millions of insects that we had collided with along the way had created a disgusting bug batter around the truck. In the past, we never bothered to wash our vehicles during road trips, but being how this time our truck was a rental, we thought it would be best. However, we needed to find that perfect car wash service that accurately reflected our production budget. We found just the right spot. And then we ran out of road. Because we had run out of land, we had arrived in Cabo.
That looks like Cabo San Lucas. That looks like Cabo San Lucas to me.
Dude, we made it. Cabo. But our journey wasn't over yet. There was one more thing we had to do. Get ourselves to Land's End, where the Pacific meets the Sea of Cortez. That meant leaving the truck behind and hiring a boat to take us the short distance from town, the final leg of our journey.
This is absolutely incredible and a little bit crazy. One of the most beautiful places I've ever seen though.
We were left at Land's End. Nowhere else to go. The end of the line, and just in time for sunset.
Standing here with the Sea of Cortez on this side and the Pacific Ocean right there, and one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. And not just Land's End here in Cabo, but the entire Baja Peninsula.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Over 1,000 miles and only 7 days later. Another trip crossed off the list. We had come to the end of the road at the end of the world.
Here's the end of the world. To the end of the world, dude.
Looking back, Baja had been nothing less than incredible. Any preconceived notions we had about this place, and we had a few, about crime, the people, the landscapes, all of that gone. Blown out of the water. We didn't have a clue. People are inherently good. Give them a chance to show you. To think that I almost didn't come here out of fear was criminal in itself. And if I learned anything at all, it's to research a place with common sense. Cut through the bullshit. If you allow fear alone to shape decisions in your life, you might just miss out on some of the best things life has to offer.